Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Nepal Tech Hub. We're going to start about the Java programming language, and this is going to be the series about the Java programming for the beginners, and I'll try my best to give you the high level overview and practical examples with whatever we learn, whatever we use in the real-time environment. As I already said, I'm going to give you the high level overview on everything that you're going to require for the real life project. So the first thing, to run the Java program in your computer, you need to have environment set up. For that, you need to download and install the Java JDK, that's the development kit. And the second thing is install IDE or any code editor will work, but for this series I'm going to use IntelliJ, even though I use VS Code, my favorite code editor, but for this series I'm going to use IntelliJ. If you decide to use VS Code, then you need to require a couple extensions need to be installed, and for the extension you can go to the extension folder, and then on the search bar you can type Java and you'll see the bundle extension for the Java. Probably gonna be 3 in the bundles. You have to install all 3 of them. Then if you are using the Windows machine, and here's the deal, for the Windows machine you have to give the path variable, need to be defined inside the system environment variable, that's for sure in Windows machine. Once you have your environment set up, let's go ahead and move forward. Open the IntelliJ or any of your favorite code editor ID. Our main goal, our first start for the Java programming is going to be start from the data types in Java. What are the data types in Java? Open the IntelliJ. Before we go ahead for the data types in Java, one thing I'm going to talk about coding is when you are typing a code, just like bunch of codes. Let's say if you're typing a bunch of codes, then just like in the English language or any other languages, they have grammar. Exactly, even in the programming language they do have a grammar. That means syntax. If your syntax is not correct, that means your grammar is not correct and you have some errors. That's what it basically means. So syntax need to be correct while you are writing a code. And here, as you can see on the line number 7, I have a red flag here. You can see the red underline everywhere because I have syntax error. This is not, Java doesn't understand what I just did. So you see, so this basically called the syntax error, even though I have a semicolon on the end saying that the statement has been completed, but still, yeah, syntax is wrong, so it cannot be processed. It's gonna give me error if I try to run. That's the first thing that you have to know while you are starting for the programming language and coding. So you need to know those things. Here I'm going to create the new Java class, and to create the new Java class you have to go inside the source folder. We're going to work inside the source folder. Inside the source folder we're going to go create the Java class, and here I'm going to create a Java class saying lesson 1, and as you can see it's a public class lesson 1. And inside the lesson 1, I'm going to create the main method. So to create the main method, just do main and hit tab. It's the beauty of IntelliJ, it will give you the main method. It's a shortcut for creating the main method. Just type main and hit tab, and then for the end of the shortcut is to print. For the print statement it's a shout and hit tab, and you'll get the system.out.println. Inside that you have to give 2 quotes, and then there if you write, okay, this is my channel Nepal Tech Hub. Okay, to run this we just give them statement saying, hey, print this out. We say this is my channel Nepal Tech Hub, I want Java to print this statement. So to run the program, once you write your program, to run the program you have to click here and run lesson 1, which is our class. So run, and underneath in the terminal console you'll see the output. This is my channel Nepal Tech Hub. As a first programming, we always saw as a demo programming saying hello world. That's what I just did. Instead of hello world, I just said this is my channel Nepal Tech Hub. We're gonna learn about the data type today, and Java data type. Okay, let me delete whole thing instead. Yeah, in this lesson we're gonna learn about the data type in Java. Yeah, in Java there are many data types we use. Here in this lesson we talk about the most commonly used data types in the real life. A string is one of the most important and well-known sequence character in Java, which will be used to identify the variables. If you are using string identifiers at the time of defining the variable, then you are basically saying, hey Java, I'm using a string, and then the Java will know what's coming, what's he gonna expect. If you say string as a keyword, if you say string and give the name variables and then you give something, or if you don't give anything, close the statement with a semicolon, then Java know what to expect. Java will be like, okay, I'm getting string on this name variable, it will accept the string, which should be inside the double quote. For example, I'm going to show you this demo right here. So we are already inside the main method. String is a keyword, string string, and with the S capital. String will accept everything, alphabetical characters and numbers and everything, but it has to be inside the double quote. When you do string, now define the variable name. We just define the data types, but not the variable name. I'll say name equals to, and as I say, it has to be inside the double quote. I'll give cache cal. To end this statement we have to give the semicolon. Statement has been closed, and we say, hey Java, I have a variable name which have the value cache cal. This is a string data type. That's what we basically told Java. If you give this space in between, it's gonna print with the space too. So for that, just delete this space and just give the cache cal. Here I'm gonna comment keyword is string, and the value we just give value is cache cal. When we ask Java to print out name variable, then it should give the cache cal value. So let's go ahead and see. So to print shout and tab is a shortcut, system out.println. Here inside, this is the string value we just gave. To print out this value, it has been stored in the name variable. So we leave the name variable here, and we just give name. It's gonna print out whatever is stored inside this name variable. As we say, string is a data type, name is a variable name. We say equals to cache cal. This means name already have this value, and when we say name, it's gonna print cache cal. What I just did is inside the println, I gave the double quote. Whatever you give inside the double quote, it's gonna print exactly the same way. Whatever you have with a plus sign, that called concatenation. So when you have something to add on the print statement variable name, it will just print out. And run. Here as you can see, this is the string value we just defined, and print cache cal. Also, if we want to print this on the second line, we can just say, we can backslash, and that means new line. It's a reserved word for Java. See, it's gonna print whole up to here in the one line. Whatever next is gonna break the line, it's gonna create a new line, print this statement, as you can see in the print statement in the console. That's a string. We're gonna go forward for the next one. The second one is integer. So I'm just gonna talk about the mostly we use in the real life project. So integer is the second one that we use most of the time. So, and the keyword for the integer is int. Int is the keyword for the integer. Integer will always carry whole number, just the numerical value, whole number, not the decimal. Integer whole number, let's do whole number equals to, and for this, for integer number, you don't have to give inside the quotation. You just can type this out and give the semicolon to end the statement. Integer just have int is a keyword. When we define any variable, when we give any data type, then yeah, that holds the space. So here integer hold the 4 bytes space. It can hold up to 9. It can hold up to 9. If you want the 9, it's gonna give you the red line, which means integer can't hold up to there. So 4 bytes of memory space, and it exceeds the memory space when you have the 10 numbers in there. It says integer number too large. If I want to print out the whole number as we did for the string, we can just do the same thing and say this is the whole number we defined above, and just do that in the same line, in the new line, and concatenate with the, and as you just type double autocomplete using the tab button. Let's run and see. This time we have 2 print statements. So we have this print statement for this string for the name, and we have second print statement for the whole number. So you see here, this is the string value we just defined for the first statement, and for the second statement, this is the whole number we defined above. Third one we have is float. So for the whole number we have integer, but for the decimal number what we have float. Float is for decimal number. Equals to, and it's the same thing to give the value. Float is a data type, and this is a variable name, decimal number, and here it was a whole number, and we're gonna give the value. So value is 5.5, but here you have to give f at the end of, that means you have to cast to the float. So you have to give f at the end of your value that you just passed, and float is the keyword. It holds up to 4 bytes again. And just to print that out, we can do the same thing. Okay, done. and we can run and see. Here you can see this is the decimal number we defined. So yeah, for the decimal value, if you have just like example is just a currency, let's say you have 5,555 cents, 0.55 cents. So this is how you're gonna give decimal value and whatever the left. Now let's say 5.5 inch for the height, for the length, you know, whatever comes to the decimal value, we use float for that. If you use decimal value for the integer, it's gonna give the error. Let's just see integer. We can give any variable name, it doesn't matter actually. Decimal number for when you say integer data type and you try to give the decimal value here, it won't take it. It will give you error, and it says required type is integer, because we say integer in the front, saying that hey Java, I'm giving you integer data type, integer value, but we provided the double value, that means 5.5, or can say double or float value, which is not a whole number, so integer can't take it, and it will give you the error. The next one is long. More. So long is a data type, more numbers is a variable name, provide the value. Now this can take up to 8 bytes, so it can take more than 9. Long is the keyword. So you can just, we did in the float, we can do L at the end, and you can give more values. So you have to give L at the end, don't forget about the F at the end, or if you don't give it, then you have to cast. And what is casting, I'll talk about that in the next video. So let's just see. Cool. There you go. Yeah, it just comes in the same line because I forgot to give the new line, so that's okay. And the next one we have is double. As you saw double earlier when I was trying to give the float in integer. So double extra decimal, I'll call it extra decimal, equals to, for double you can give these dot, these values, and give D at the end and semicolon to end the state. As you can see, the difference between float and the double, it holds more values because it has, the float has 4 bytes of space, but double has 8 bytes of space. That's why it holds more values. Keyword is, and also you have to give D at the end. You don't have to do that for the integer and string, but for float, long, double, you have to verify what it is at the end. This is the values from double we defined above. And there you go. And when you print, as you can see here, next one we have is character. This one will store the characters. So store characters. Okay, equals to, now we're going to provide the value, and for the value, to provide the value for the character, you have to give inside the single quote. For the string, we have to do the double quote. Yeah, don't get confused. For the string, you have to do the double quote, and for the character, you have to do the single quote. Then it will know, hey, yes, I'm getting character. Here, the characters could be percentage sign, it could be dollar sign, anything else like @ anything. And to end the statement, you have to give the semicolon. And to print that out, I forgot to give the double quote. Now let's run and see. You see, I asked to print the store character variable name, and it prints the value whatever it has inside the variable name. Boolean will just have two, either true or false. In return, it will just give you two results. Either it's going to be true or false. That's a boolean. So equals to true, or you just have to type false. You see, it's autocomplete. It will show you the best suggestion here. Yeah, there you go. And just to make sure, let's do a second answer. Print the first answer. So what is the first answer? First answer. And as I said, we can concat to the plus sign for the concatenation of the second statement, and do print this is the second answer, and here you can see it says second answer. Now we can run and see how does it print. Here you can see print the first answer true, this is the second answer false. Okay, that's a boolean value, and also the keyword is boolean. So far in this video we learned about data type and also how to concatenate print statement in the same line, so using the plus sign. Thank you so much, stay tuned for the next video.